Hello everyone and welcome to Cinderful Gaming. In today's video we're going to look at getting started with the Space Marines in Warhammer 40,000, building a force based around the Librarius Conclave Christmas Advent Calendar detachment. You'll find the full rules for this detachment, including enhancements and stratagems, free to download from warhammercommunity.com. Today's video is sponsored by Gap Games, a fantastic miniature wargaming store in Queensland, Australia. They stock a wide variety of miniature wargames from all things Games Workshop to some of my personal favourites, Conquest of the Last Argument of Kings, and all things Modifius wargames as well. Use our affiliate code in the link below to help support both this fantastic store and the channel as well. And so to start off with for our Librarius Conclave force, of course, we're going to look at the Librarian. Now this is the standard Librarian model. It's toughness 4, 3+ save, and 4 wounds. It has a ranged psychic attack called Smite, which can be used in either a basic Witchfire version or a focused Witchfire version, which gets hazardous, but also gains devastating wounds on the profile and a slight increase in its damage. Now, other than that, you've got the Psychic Hood, which grants the unit this model leads a Feel No Pain 4+ against psychic attacks, and Mental Fortress means while this model is leading a unit, models in that unit have a 4+ invulnerable save, which is really cool. Now, speaking of a leader, this model can lead a ton of different squads, from Assault Intercessors, Desolation Squads, Devastator Squads, Hellblasters, Infernus, Intercessors, Sternguard, Veterans, and Tactical Squads as well. Our next Librarian choice is Librarian in Phobos armor, our Scout Librarian. Much like the standard Librarian, this model has a Smite psychic ranged attack, and it can also lead a variety of different units from Eliminators, Incursors, Infiltrators, and Reavers. The model has the Infiltrator's ability itself standard, and also has a Psychic Hood like the first Librarian, which gives you that Feel No Pain 4+ against psychic attacks. Its Shrouding Psychic ability means while this model is leading a unit, they gain the stealth and cannot be targeted by ranged attacks unless the attacking model is within 12 inch. The last of our Librarian options is Librarian in Terminator armor. This model obviously gains that 2+ save and 4+ invulnerable, plus the toughness bonus as well to toughness 5 that we get from being in Terminator armor, and has an option of either having a combi weapon or Stormbolter to go with that Smite psychic power. Now, you also have the abilities of Deep Strike as your Terminator model, the Psychic Hood, same as the other Librarians, and Veil of Time at Psychic Power actually gives out sustained hits 1 to the unit it joins. This can be really good considering the model can join some units that have some higher volume of attacks, this being either Terminator Assault Squads with lots of attacks in combat, or Terminator Squads who, when at short range with their Stormbolters, do pack out quite a few attacks. The first unit we're going to look at is one that our standard Librarian can lead, and this is the Sternguard Veteran Squad. I think this is a great unit. First of all, the option of either Sternguard bolt rifles for that nice 24-inch range 2-shot devastating wounds attacks that can hit on 2s thanks to heavy. They've got rapid fire there as well. Or you can go, if you want, anti-infantry to give them some combi weapons. They do drop an attack, but they do have obviously the anti-infantry 4+ rule on them. There's some really cool enhancements that you can take within the Librarius Conclave that I think really benefit this unit when you take them on the character that will join them. Now, the Sergeant itself can have a variety of different weapon options, from power weapons, power fists and chain swords, to combi weapons and bolt rifles as well. And you can also swap for every 5 models, or one of the models can have a heavy weapon, which could be either a Pyre Cannon, which is a nice, decently powered heavy flamer variant, or you can have a Sternguard Heavy Bolter, which is a heavy bolter with both heavy sustained hits 1 and devastating wounds on it. Their Sternguard focus rule means each time a model in this unit targets the Oath of Moment target in the force, you can re-roll the wound roll. And this is really cool because obviously if you are playing in a standard Marine army, you will gain that +1 to wound, or with re-rolls as well, which can be really nice. Now, we're going to want a way for those Sternguard to get around the table, and I think a Repulse is a great way to not only get them a transport option, but also provide you with some anti-armor in your force. Repulses are fairly survivable with toughness 12, 3+ save, and 16 wounds. You've got a variety of different weaponry on them. They come standard with a heavy onslaught Gatling cannon, a Hunter Slayer missile, a repulsive defense array, twin heavy bolter, and its armored hull to smash things in combat with. Now, these all give you a large amount of attacks if you're going to, say, go for that anti-armor, taking the options of swapping out to a twin last cannon and last talon instead of those heavy bolters and onslaught Gatling cannon is a decent way to go, though the onslaught Gatling cannon is 12 attacks at strength 6, no AP damage 1 with devastating wounds though. But I think the Repulse defense array, the fact you've got 18 attacks coming out of that with a strength of 4, no AP damage 1, it does make up for the fact you're losing all those attacks, and this will give you the idea of getting those nice last talon attacks, which is strength 10 minus 3 AP and damage d6 plus 1. Its emergency combat amplification ability means once per turn in your opponent's charge phase, after an enemy unit has selected a target for its charge, you can essentially bring a unit back into the transport. Now, this model can transport up to 14 Adeptus Astartes infantry model, though each jump pack, Wolfman, Gravis or Terminator model takes up 2 spaces, and each Centurion would take up 3. Next, we have our Terminator Squad. Terminators come in obviously 2 varieties for Standard Marines, your basic tactical Terminators that we're going to talk about here, and you've got Assault Terminators as well, but I think the tactical Terminators really benefit from that sustained hits 1. The fact that you're going to have 4 shots from each Stormbolt at close range, like, they're not going to necessarily do anything against heavier armor, but they are going to be an absolute horde killer with those attacks. Now, you can choose to give yourself a little bit of more power for some anti-armor if you want to go with like a Cyclone missile launcher. An Assault Cannon is a really nice option with a high amount of attacks, making good use of the sustained hits 1 we're going to get out of it. Or you can go for a Heavy Flame, which obviously wouldn't benefit though from the ability of the Librarian joining them. In combat wise, you can have your Power Fist, and the Sergeant can even have a power weapon, though you can choose to have a Chain Fist, which does drop to a 4+ to hit but is anti-vehicle 3+. Their Teleport Homer allows them to use Rapid Ingress stratagem for 0 CP based on where you put the little Teleport Homer down on, and Fury of the First means each time a Wallace unit makes an attack that targets your open moment target, you can add 1 to your hit roll as well. Next, we need somewhere for our Phobos Librarian to join, and that unit is going to be a squad of Incursors. Incursors are part of the dual kit that comes along with your Infiltrator models as well. And they're going to provide you, as I said, with a place for that Phobos Marine Captain, being Phobos Armoured Marines themselves. Incursors have Oculus Bolt Carbines, their Assault Ignores Cover weapons, and they've got Scout 6 inches as well. The multi-spectrum array that they have means in your shooting phase, after this unit shot, they can actually give a bonus of +1 to hit to other friendly Adeptus Astartes unit targeting that same unit. And their Haywire Mine can actually do some mortal damage to vehicles as well. Lastly, we have a few spare points in the force, and we were looking at sort of what to include, and I think an Invicta Tactical Warsuit is nice. This is going to give that smaller Phobos squad we have in the force a nice piece of armor to join them and to give them some extra punch in that sort of little combo we have going there. As the Invicta Tactical Warsuit, if that Phobos unit is ever actually shot, so someone gets within that 12-inch range to actually shoot them, thanks to the shrouding rule we have, it can actually shoot back at the unit that shoots them, and it can do so with a variety of different weaponry, which can be things like an Incendium Cannon, which is a North Cover Torrent weapon with d6+3 shots, or it can have a Twin Iron Hail Auto Cannon as well, which is a nice strength 9, -1 AP and damage 3 weapon. Our force today is obviously going to be the Librarius Conclave for the Space Marines that we've talked about, and this gives us the Psychic Disciplines, where at the start of the battle round we select one of the following Psychic Disciplines, and until the end of the battle round it will apply to all of our Adeptus Astartes Psychic units. We can either choose to add 2 to our move with the Biomancy Discipline. Divination means we can reroll 1 and reroll 1 to wound of hit and wound each time a model in the unit makes an attack. Pyromancy means each time a ranged attack by a model targets an enemy unit within 12, we can bonus our AP by 1. Telekinesis can give each time we make a ranged attack targeting one of our units, subtract 1 from that characteristic of the attack. And Telepathy means each time a model in the unit makes an attack, you can ignore all modifiers to their weapon skill or ballistic skill. And so here we have our force. The first of these are our characters, and we're going to have a Librarian with Enhancement Fusillade. This is going to give any ranged weapons equipped by the bearer's unit anti-monster 5+ and anti-vehicle 5+, and also the sustained hits 1 if we've got Pyromancy Discipline active, or add 6 inch to a range of our weapons if we've got the Telekinesis Discipline active. We then have our Librarian in Phobos armor, and then a Librarian in Terminator armor with the enhancement of Fusication, as well as being our Warlord. What this enhancement does is enemy units can't use the fire overwatch stratagem to shoot the various units, and if telepathy is active for us, then we can't be targeted by ranged attacks unless they're within 18 inch. For infantry, we then have our Incursor Squad with 5 models of the unit and a Haywire Mine. We have our Sternguard Veteran Squad with 10 models in the unit, Sternguard Veteran Sergeant with Power Fist and Sternguard Bolt Rifle, and then 2 Sternguard Heavy Bolters in the unit as well. And lastly, a Terminator Squad with 5 models in the unit, the Sergeant with a Power Weapon, 2 Chain Fists in the unit as well, and an Assault Cannon. Lastly, we have our vehicles, and first of these is our Invicta Tactical Warsuit with Incendiary Cannon, and a Repulse with Twin Las Cannon and Las Talon. We hope that you found this video helpful in getting started with Warhammer 40,000, and that it was able to give you some ideas and inspiration to start your own force in the game. If you have any further questions, please comment down below, and while you're there, don't forget to drop a like, subscribe, and join our Discord server to check out all of our future Warhammer 40,000 content.